ChatGPT really helps me pinpoint a new portfolio project. But the thing is, it's difficult for me to know, I don't know how to explain this, to know exactly what to design. Even though I know how to design it, I just don't know what to design. Like I really need, and I don't know how to go about it.
What do you mean by you don't know what to design? That's my question. What does that mean?
I know that I have to design, for instance, a login page, sign up page, password page. After that, let's say homepage. Now I'm on homepage. I don't even know what to place where. That's
Why
like
why not ask ChatGPT for ideas?
Yes, I did though, but these things that I'm getting, the wireframes that I don't know if
You don't need
Figma is going to do.
See, before you ask GPT to give you a wireframe, first let GPT give you a documentation of what the dashboard page or the home page should even be first. What should be on there? What should the user be able to do ideally? You read that, then you think about it a little bit, then you can say, oh, maybe someone say Claude AI. All these, they're all AI tools. They all do the same thing. They'll just give you like new ideas or new perspectives as well.
Can
You
I
can try
share
all of
the
them.
link? Can I share the link so that you can give me pointers? Because I've just been stuck here.
Personally,
Boss, I have a question. The stuff you're working on, did they give you the existing design, or you just have to come up with your own?
Who's that? Is it me or is it Ola?
No, it's me, Solomon. I'm asking a question based on what
I'm
you're
saying like,
working on.
I'm saying like, are you asking me or are you asking Ola?
Yes, I'm asking you, not Ola.
But no, Ola was still talking now. Like,
oh, okay.
wait first. Let me first understand what you were saying. I thought maybe you wanted to ask him a question, not me. Let's first solve his own problem, then I'll answer your own question.
Boss.
Yes, but Chief, what you were saying? Sorry.
I've dropped the link. Maybe if you can help me check.
So I'll go inside your Figma file. What should I be checking inside that Figma file?
No, the homepage now. I have what I want it to look like, but it's not looking like it's, and it's confusing. The idea of this product is like
it's already looking good already. You're already flowing. What is wrong with your own page now? Yeah. What is wrong with this one?
Is
let me understand now.
Okay. I want it to have like a modern feel. I don't want it to
You want to have modern feel. Be looking at designs on mobbing. Copy anyone that you like. If it's this one, copy. Go back to your this thing, paste it inside, and then compare. Then take ideas from the stuff you brought and you copy it. It's up to you to really design. At least the ideas of the things to represent have already come from GPT. It's just up to you to know how you're going to arrange them and represent them. What type of icons do you want to use? It's up to you. GPT will not do everything for you guys. You still have to do your own part of it. If you want modern design, you have to go and look for inspiration. GPT will not give you inspiration at all. See this. I don't even know what app this is, but this looks good at any distance or whatever. Walk, run, bike, hike, yoga. You might be able to get it and try it out yourself. The design will not be good enough. Even if you give you wireframe, the wireframe will not be good enough. You have some ideas of some of the things you can implement, but the styling of it cannot be according to the wireframe. The styling has to be something that you've gone out to search for. Maybe you're combining 3 or 4 different styling ideas to create your own unique one. Fine. See model, and then this is what you're editing. They're just showing me that this is the full model. When it's in content, this is what it looks like. This is the full one. When it's in design, like the design mode, when it switches to the other side, this is it. My job is to simplify each of them, the 2 of them. That's pretty much the instruction.
All right. Thanks, boss.
And then they gave me brand guide and all of that stuff. And then it's just up to me to just use all of the stuff that they're giving me and then find a way to use that to simplify stuff. For me now, the first one, I've simplified it into just this. I'll make sure this is like an expandable accordion. This one is just an expandable accordion. All of these guys will be nested inside this. Once this is collapsed, at the end of the day, this entire model is not going to be longer than this. This other one, I've already simplified it enough. It's just going to be this. There's not too much text there. Except maybe if I want to reduce the text a bit, I can still come here and then disable these guys. And then I can then use that icon, this eye icon, to then put it there. All of that, then it has reduce number of text again. It's really whatever I want to do. It's really whatever I want to do. It depends on me, really. You have to be thinking outside of that box, like almost maybe they don't want too much text. Because that was literally what I started thinking when I was looking at it just now as we were talking. I was like, compared to this is a lot less text, but there's still a lot of text here. Can I do something else? Maybe I disable this and then just call back on this same element. Then that shows what does this mean? What does that mean? Rather than just showing it outright. It really depends. They might call me and they might not like my design. Again, it depends on them. And I always tell people, it's not really that you're not good. It's just that what you did probably just is not what they are trying to explore. And that's fine. It's really fine. There's always another job somewhere. That's just one thing I always believe. And as designers, we are lucky. Again, I know everybody has the work ethic it takes to do 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I know everybody has that work ethic that it takes. Guarantee you, of 100 of us that are probably going to be like here, like maybe only people that have that tenacity to be able to maybe say they can take on 2 jobs, 3 jobs at the same time. I'll probably say it's less than 5% of us. People want to have work-life balance. And I swear, it's a beautiful thing. But everybody's motivations, everybody's where we are going is very, very different. The things we want to do are very different. Again, it really just depends on your own drive. Can you do it? Can you wake up midnight, sit down on your laptop, work up till 4 a.m. from Friday night to Saturday morning, working on another project? And immediately you can take a nap of 2 hours. You wake up again, you take somebody else's project, and then you touch on that project again. And Monday I have to go to work. I go to do the normal things that is required for you to do at work. But when you're on break at work, you still jump on another project to add some more elements to it again, and then push the design forward. And then by the end of 2 or 3 months, you are closing about 4 different projects and getting your balance on all of those jobs. Or maybe it's even contractual roles. And I'm just telling you from my own experience. I like to say these things just to maybe motivate people, really. It's not like it's not like I don't like to go out and enjoy and flex a little bit. I would love to do that. But the things that I'm looking to do is beyond some of those things. And I can tell you some of the things I'm doing currently. One, I currently work for the new company I work for here at Omaze. I still work for Pay for Me, even though I'm considering quitting that. Because again, if I'm not putting in all my energy to like a company, if I cannot be giving all my efforts to them, I feel like it might be better for me to not stand in the way of that company. That's just my own personal philosophy. Anything that will affect the quality of work or the way people view my work or the way people view my commitment, I don't like dirty stains like that. It's better for me to just step out of that situation. But yeah, I still do that. I still do. There are two people in the US I work for. There's a designer in the US who I do like. I'm like an assistant to that designer. At least every month, maybe I get about tax-free money of about $1,600, which is still something. It adds up. And then besides that, I still do like a contractual job for like a lady in the US as well. They just pay $40 an hour. Every month, that's like another maybe 2,000 every month. When all of these things are adding up and adding up and adding up, you start seeing that again, it's one thing to be doing some of those things. And these are the kind of things that is enabling me to be able to do some of the things. Like I'll say, oh, this was my student. Come and join me on this project and I'll be paying you maybe 300 every month. As long as you are doing the job, if they're paying me $40 per hour, how much is 300 for me to pay somebody to be doing stuff while I'm doing my office work? These are the kind of things that I just feel like as people, you always have to be thinking outside of the box. Like there's side money there for you to get. And talk less, besides of all of those things I even mentioned, I still have startups I'm building. It's not like they're bringing money. No, I'm paying people out of my pockets to build those things. But you actually have to, I guess, you have to spend the money that you have at hand. Because it's like investment. It's like I'm investing in people and also investing in myself. Because I'm putting people on to projects. We are working together to build something that has the potential to then become a company that probably makes us $1 million almost every month or almost every 2 months. If that happens, all the efforts, all the late nights, all the contracts and everything, has paid off in the long run and then has helped me build the dream that I've always wanted. Because obviously your children will not inherit your job. You have to be thinking outside of that box as well. I always like to encourage people, think outside. What are the things that you can do on the side with this design thing? And something I'm thinking seriously on now was when we were talking about Framer, literally was in this class. I've had that idea. What if I can say, who are the best designers in class? Let me call on each of you guys. Go and design like fully fledged websites, clean websites. Then let's find a way to take that into Framer. We sell them as templates. And whether you work or you don't work, every time a template sells, you get your own percentage. Maybe my own is like 20%. Maybe one of the designers that worked on it is another 20, another person 20. If you make $10,000 in sales that month, everybody gets 20% of that. Let's say 4 people get 20%. Everybody is good every single month without doing any work. I'm always saying, think outside of the box. Yes, the design is the foundation of it. Once you are good at the design, everything else starts to fall in place. But don't lock yourself behind that mindset of, I have to stay in this company and be there for like forever. Because the truth is, the way companies run, your company will betray you. If you think I want to be staying loyal to this company, your company will not be loyal to you. When they start seeing that they're not making enough profit, the first people that they'll start looking at taking out will first be the low performers. Even if you're a high performer, fine. At one point, they start looking for ways to hire somebody that is cheaper. But then they'll be thinking, I will have to let this guy go. But you already be forming loyal guy. I'm loyal to this company. I feel like, no, like, don't put yourself in that box. But I always think outside of the box. What are the things you can do for yourself that can turn to like passive income? $40 an hour, like that job. And I was just bluffing in the conversation I had with that person. I negotiate that 40. I was like, oh, $40 per hour. And she was like, oh, fine. I was like, oh shit. I actually played myself. Maybe probably should have agreed with myself something like $60 an hour. But again, that's by the way. I'm just saying, like, the real deal really is think outside of the box. What can you do with the skills you already have? How can you combine your power with other people's energy and their strengths as well? And then you guys make it like a formidable thing. Maybe somebody else is good at auto layouts. Somebody is very good at coming up with design concepts and maybe colors. If you guys work together to create a very good, should I say, template that you can resell, why not? Don't wait for a job. You don't have to wait for a job. You can be doing things on your own while you are still applying for jobs, and you can be making way more money than the job that you already get paid for, right? Before I got this new job, I've been making a lot more money than Pay For Me was paying me. Always think outside of the box. There are a lot of freelance gigs out there that will pay you monthly more than what your full-time job will be paying you every month. But again, sometimes once you start making money, I guess you have to be very careful of that as well. Once you start making so much money, you start relaxing. And that is where you start falling off again. It's a very weird balance. There's a point where you get to where you're making so much money, you're not really worried about money anymore. But then you then start relaxing. The moment you start relaxing is the moment you start falling off. At least that's what I believe. I've seen that happen to so many people. And I feel it's very important for you guys to know. Now, you might not be making 100,000. The moment you start making 100,000, and I can tell you exactly, this is me for when I started in 2018. 2018, my first job, they were paying me 15K every month. 15K was not enough for me to even eat. I'll eat one gala and it's either pure water or it's going to be biggie anytime I can afford that biggie. You understand? It's kind of nice. Now, it was always 15K. And most times I would have to walk from Allen back to Ogba. My shoes were fucked up. I could not afford to buy new shoes. It was, and again, being kind of like a first child, someone who's kind of like a first son, that you always think, I can't even provide for my parents. That one as well is kind of like a motivator. And I always tell people, the things you go through itself is one of the things that will shape, I guess, it shapes how serious you take anything you're doing. And if there are people looking up to me, people that every month I have to send them money, people that have to eat, people that have to feed every month. Your energy will be on another level. Anyway, for 15K. Then one day the guy was telling me something. I was trying to maybe like help them out. And then the guy was saying, what do you even know about UI UX that you want to be teaching people UI UX? Hey, I'm on my head. I was like, God, it's my life. Then that same day, the guy said something. What am I even paying you for? I'm like, on top 15K. Over that same day, I think I met somebody. I was talking to somebody anyway, just on the road, random person. We're just moving. I was like, oh yeah, I do design. I was like, oh yeah. He linked me up with somebody. I did the interview and I got the job. The next week, I left. That I didn't even give any resignation letter. I just left. And that was from 15K to 70K. Now, I was thinking 70K. I'm now a big boy. But then now I can at least send a little bit of maybe like 15 or 20, 30K to Mopsy or something like that. That was still something. But then the moment you hit that number, you realize that that money is not even enough for anything. Then I was hoping my next job where I'll get 150K. When I got the next job, I was even doing like side gigs that were paying me, apart from the 70K, I was getting like 60K almost every month from teaching on the side. It still was not enough. Because that's just the way it is. The more money you earn, the more your appetite then becomes broader. Because now you want to do more things. You have the funds to be able to, and it's not even like maybe flexing or drinking beer or anything. Just like, oh, there's this software I've been seeing, and it's a premium software. I can pay for it now. Once you pay for it like this, account balance don't reduce. But you still have to eat, you still have to feed people, but you're trying to learn and better yourself as well. So your appetite will keep increasing for more risk and more this thing. Not everybody has the risk for appetite, sha. Me, like almost every month now, for my salary now, at least I know I spend almost at least this month already, and the month is not even halfway. I've spent almost £300 on just testing softwares out. And because I'm trying to learn something, this is the school fee that you pay. These are the kind of any money you can find on the side to learn something. I would advise you to do it. It's to better you. The moment you learn and master that thing, that's another service you can sell to people. If you learn how to do WordPress, that means you can build a fully functional website from design to development to live. People will pay more than 500, 600K for just that one skill. Because again, most people don't understand what is UI UX. There's only companies that understand UI UX. Companies will hire a UI UX designer to come and design, and then somebody else will develop. But if you're a designer that can then do Framer, or can also do Webflow, or can also do Wix, or can also do WordPress, the moment you can do that, you're now a full package type of person. But nobody knows that in the past you have spent much money learning all these different things. And the moment you can offer that service, that's another something in your portfolio. I always tell people, like, you always just have to at least take risks. That money you think, that number that you're thinking in your head, that, oh, when you start earning that money, it's going to be more than enough. Trust me, I promise you guys, you will make that money. But when you start making that money, you will see that it's not enough because you have more appetite to then try something else. You want to try something else, or you want to invest in this thing or invest in that thing. But that's just that anyway. I implore you guys, don't have the mindset of, I just want to work for a company. Most people will learn UI UX, and then they'll be applying. But remember, there are 1,000 other people as well that have learned UI UX. They're trying to apply. The mistake people are doing is we are focusing on the application. Oh, somebody must hire me to start working. You're not thinking of what can I do to then make myself look really amazing, so that when somebody finally notices me, I have done this, I have done that, even though nobody hired me, I have done this. And when you are getting to that interview, they know you've done many things. You've just never worked for anybody. And the moment you get in the door, just work for just one person. That moment, you've already become a product designer, like properly in the eyes of companies. Because for one company to hire you, it means they saw value in you. But that company definitely will find value in you as well. So you can always up jobs. Almost every 6 months, change your jobs, and your salary will almost always double. So it's almost, let's say, maybe at first, it was like, maybe the first pay start paying you 100K. Next job, negotiate for 200, 250. 6 months later, next one negotiates for maybe like 350, 400. You understand? That is like you just job up. That's kind of like what people do. You understand? I've never really been somebody who job up. It's just because I don't know. It feels very weird. And there's also something that companies look at as, especially me, when I was hiring for my team on pay for me. There's something I look at in people's CV. How long did you last in your last job before the one that you are doing right now? Were you there for 3 months, 4 months? That shows me that you will come to us too. You will spend 4 months and you run away to another place because they give you more money. And I don't want to start training somebody new on how our design system works and how the Figma files are arranged and everything. There's so many elements to it. The job hopping thing, you should be ready to know that if you're going to be job hopping, you have to be crazy good. That they will see your portfolio, and regardless of you doing 6 months in every company, they will still hire you. But if you do like you want to have that longevity and this thing, really, then staying in one place for a while is kind of good. But if they are very toxic people, I advise you to go. Always in interviews, always have questions for your recruiters. Always have questions for recruiters. I always tell people that it's one of the most important skills to have. Have questions we ask them. Don't just go into the interview and you just listen to what they have to say from the top to the end. And they will ask you at the end, do you have any questions for us? And you say no. Don't say that. Always have at least one question for them. Probably ask about the culture of the team, ask questions around the size of the team. How do they work with the engineers? Or there's one brilliant question. It's a question that you just say, what is that one thing that if I'm hired in this company, what is that one thing that if I do within 3 months, you can pat yourself in the back and say, yes, that was a great decision to hire this guy, right? That is that one question I will always ask every person who is interviewing me. Once I ask that question, they'll start talking about, yeah, we'll be expecting you to be able to do this. They're already giving you the expo to the job before you get the job. Even if there's a second stage interview, I already know the kind of things to talk around and then the kind of things that I can say that I will be able to do for them, because the previous interviewer has given me the expo on what they're expecting a new hire to do. Yeah, that's that. Today, it's not going to be a long class. It's going to be a pretty straightforward class anyway. Yeah, let me just go ahead and just do this. Let me share my screen and let's just continue from where we stopped. Let's take a look. We want to create like nested auto layouts. You guys have already seen micro interactions. You've seen little animations that you can do within a page. It doesn't necessarily have to go anywhere else. You've also seen examples of transitions as well. Now, one of the things as well that we can then take a look at is going to be those complex auto layouts that are kind of like nested things within things. An example of that is something I see in what mobbing is doing. Like, for example, where this itself is a component. This one is also a different component. This is also a different component. But this is also a different component that switches between one state to the other. It filters for different things. How do we end up doing these things? Firstly, let's just take a standard screenshot of the entire page. I should have known. Don't worry. I know what to do. I'm just going to take a screenshot of the entire section. Ctrl+Shift+3. And let's go back to the home page. Ctrl+C. And let's paste that page here. Now we can actually capture everything that I wanted to see. I'll just crop this. So any image you bring in, there's a crop tool always at the top for image. You can always crop the image just to remove the parts you don't actually need. Now, what we want to do is we want to identify what are the components here. First things first. Let me use a pencil tool so you guys can see what I mean. This one on its own is a component because it acts independently of anything else. It doesn't affect the other page. It pops up and closes on its own. But also, this is also another component on its own. And this guy is also another component on its own as well. Then, all of these guys here, these are all images showing all the different screen sizes and all that. They are not really components. But this entire down bottom section is now a component. But this is a component that will now have 3 states. The first state is when it is selected screens. The second state is when we select UI element, and the third state is when we select flows. And if you notice, this side doesn't actually change at all. All of this area does not change at all. But this is also a component on its own, which is inside of the page itself. How am I going to design this? Standardly, I'll create my frame. I'll probably do the MacBook Pro 16. Let's grab that in. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to mimic the sizing. First thing I'll do is I'll make a duplicate of this, and I want the size of this to be exactly the size of this frame, so I can get the sizing and the spacing. This is 1728. I'll select this and I'll also make it 1728. Now they're equal size and they fit perfectly on top of each other. Now, next thing that we need to do is to add an auto layout to this guy. Shift A. I've added an auto layout to it. One of the first things I'm going to need to do standardly is to always create a navigation bar. Navigation bar is a search in the middle, has 1, 2, 3, 4 actions on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4 actions on the side. For 8, 9 actions. How do you create that? I'll just do is create a frame in the middle, and I'll just use black just to represent it for now, so you guys can see it. I'll just say fill the entire container. But now that it's filling container, I want this frame to then be an auto layout. That guy is an auto layout now. Let's take this down a notch and just give it like a grayish color. I have icon, text, text, text. Let's come inside of there. Create an icon size. I just do icon size of 24. Let's just say for now, 24. Let's make the color like black, like the wireframe style. We have icon, then we need text, 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 iOS, Android, web. Go in, iOS, and double, Android, web. This might probably be a very small size. Let's just make it 14, just for now. Apart from that, we're supposed to have like a search bar in the center. The search bar has an icon, a text, has 2 icons and text. How do you create that? I'll just say 2 icons and text. I'll duplicate an icon and duplicate again. Then I need text. I'll take all 3 of them, Shift A. And then I know this is an icon. This is the other this thing. But here, this is supposed to be an entire like auto layout environment on its own. Therefore, we do that. We give it a little bit of padding. We give it more padding here as well. And we are going to do the distance between auto. And I want this to just stretch. I want the corner radiuses to be curved. And I want to have the background be probably like that white-ish. I'm still going to do the entire justification to the center. It's just auto. You guys already know how to do that. It's just an auto type setting. But we'll come back to that later. This is set to be search on iOS. Let's just go back and just change the text from Android to search on iOS. Search on iOS. Take this to Shift A, reduce the gap, and yeah. What else do we need? We also need 2 icons, a button, and then image. Therefore, 2 icons. I just do Control D. I just move this here. And buttons are typically text. Start from there, and then image. I just use that one to represent image. The image typically is going to be rounded. Let me round the edge of the image. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And then we have invite and earn as the button. Go back in. Invite and earn. All of these things should not be magic to you guys. You guys already know how to do all of these things. Just curve the edge totally. Make this guy white. Okay, I don't have any white colors in this. Let me just use a traditional white in there. Invite and earn. Good. Then we have 2 icons next to each other, which is the world icon and the bookmarks icon. Pretty much, let me just duplicate 2 icons. All of them will then be together. Finally, to justify everything in their proper positions, change the spacing to auto. But now we have a problem. This guy is stretching everything together. Therefore, we forgot to auto layout these guys so that they are all together on the right side. Let's just do Shift A, all the distance between them, maybe maximum 24. Now I want this guy, because it's a logo of the company. It's kind of like rectangular in nature. I'll probably just give like a rectangular width. Let's go back in. Take this out and I'll just increase the width maybe by 40 by 24 could be a nice one. And pretty much I have that. All I'm just going to do here is just to increase this. I could just manually increase it. And then I have my search right there at the center. We all know how to change icons. So I don't have to do all of that. Plenty icon changing stuff. All I'm just going to do here is just allow the background to blend in. I just make the background white to match the background of the entire thing. All right. What else do we need? I think this guy can be a little bit thicker and the background can be a little bit darker just to match a little bit of the energy here. So now we need image and large text that breaks into 2 lines. The image is just going to be a frame. Let me just do a downward direction and move this up. This to represent our image. Let's just use that green. And I'm going to curve the edge slightly like what they did. But see, there's a lot of spacing between this and this. So select the entire frame, increase the spacing. And now we need text. I'll just grab one of these, come down here and I'll paste. Now I'm just going to make that text block big. Let me just say any distance. Walk, run, bike, hike. Obviously, that's like a crazy big size. I'll just take it down a notch. To make it stand out a little bit, just do like a bold. Maybe like a semi-bold is fine. I think semi-bold is better. All I'll just do here is after that dash, I'll just press enter and then it breaks into 2 lines. But have you noticed something? That the gap from the edge here, there's a lot of gap here. Let's just increase the gap of the entire frame. Select this and increase side padding just a little bit more. And now we have done maybe 80, maybe 56 is fine. Yeah. All right. Now we've done that. The next thing is platform iOS, rating, this thing, all of these arrangements. That's going to be like an entire auto layout on their own as well. But first, I'll take this auto layout them together and I could cut down on the distance just a little bit, just for that specific selection. Next thing I need text. Control C, come down here, paste, just say platform, and then duplicate that a few times. We have platform, and this one is going to say iOS. I think the iOS text is bigger than platform. Yes, we just make that and increase the size, select the 2, Shift A, reduce the gap between them, and then platform iOS. Then we need ratings beside it and all of that. I don't even need to do all of this. I could just have delete this and then duplicate this, Control D, D, D. That's 1, 2, okay, it's 3. 1, 2, 3. I don't need the 4th one then. 1, 2. Shift A together and then auto layout to the side. Now remember, down here it's supposed to be like a myriad of icons and then text. 4.5, 4.5 brackets 2. But beside this, I then need to have some icons in there. I'll just go back and grab like an example of the icons. Control V. This is kind of like a very large icon, so I could just reduce this. And then we're going to do like a duplicate. This is 5 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Select all of them. Shift A and align them sideways, but increase the gap just as it shows. Each one will represent like a star. And then I'll just pick all of this together again. Shift A and align, but center align. I'll just move the star to the other side. Now we have that star, and then we have the 4 point whatever. You know, looking good beside it as well. I just manually increase the distance in between all of these things if you want to have more spacing. Very simple. Anyway, category, sport, health, fitness. Let's go back. Category, sports, health, fitness. I think that's what's okay. And fitness, not okay. It's and fitness. Pretty much That's the entire section. What else do I need? I need text 2 times and then an icon. What else do I need to do? Control C, paste it, and then the first one says save. Control D twice. The second one says rate, and then the last one is just an icon. Just grab an icon sample, Control C, Control Shift R, and then I want each one of them to be like their own buttons. These guys should be bigger because they are going to be buttons. 16 is fine. Let's just do 16 medium. Shift A, Shift A. Both of them will have their own paddings. Okay, let's do side paddings here. Inside color white, then the stroke, gray strokes. And we're going to curve everything totally. Okay, more spacing, more padding. Okay, that's fine. And this one as well should also have its own auto layout around it. Space, space. Curve the entire thing. Give it a white background. Give it a gray stroke. It's the same color. We did 300, so let's just do the same 300 here. All three of them together, Shift A, the side. Well, you can see this guy needs to be the same size as this guy. Let's come back in. Lock this. I'll just set the height to be fill and make sure that this guy is in the center. Whenever we replace the icon, it's going to be at the center of that. Is the distance between them okay? Space. Okay, that's too much for what we did. We need to cut this down. The save definitely is going to be a black button. Go all the way down, pick the black, select that, and then make it like the brightest color in there. That it shows appropriately. And then we have that. Pretty much, we are on point. Is there anything we've missed out on? Anybody? Is there anything that we probably didn't do well? Far. All right. Now we are getting to the part where we have to start thinking of our component part. Now, we have screens, elements, flows. Just 3 texts. Let's come back in. Grab this, Control C, select, Control V, Control D, Control D. Just say screens, UI elements, flows. Screens, UI elements, flows. That's all I need them to be. But because of how I want to use them here, I want them to be in their own individual auto layouts. So I can underline them when I switch them. I don't want to be adding lines or underlines to like text directly. I don't really like to do that personally. This Shift A, Shift A, Shift A. 1, 2, 3, 3 of them. Let them have their own, what's it called, padding from the top. And 1, 2, 3, Shift A, all of them together to the side. And now I have them looking nice. If I need them to have maybe more padding at the bottom, maybe it's fine. Then I'll just stroke this one, give it like an underline. I just say bottom only. And I could just increase the thickness of that. Now I already have my screens, UI elements, and flows. But remember, the colors of these guys are faint because they're not active. Showing that disparity, select, you go down and you just fade them out. Maybe that fade can be more. Let's just go a little bit down, a little bit more. Maybe more. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, good. We've done that. The next thing I need is just drop down icons in them. And I need 3 of them. Easy. I already have buttons here. Just let me just grab only this one. Control C, Control V. And then I have 3 buttons. But each of them, they have icons in them, the drop down thing. So I just copy the icon, Control C. I could easily just select all of this, do Control D and Control Shift R. For all of them literally just once to show that the drop down is going to be in there. The next thing I just want to do is change the text. First one is latest, capital L. Second one is screens. Third one is text in screenshots. Let's say text in screenshot. Good. And if that is that, I could even just increase the gap between the text and the icon. Then all 3 of them together, one auto layout, side by side arrangement, cut down on the spacing. And now pretty much I already have that listing. But remember, there's kind of like a line in there. To represent a line, I don't use lines. I always just use frame. I'll create a frame, probably maybe like this 50 color. But then the width is then what I'll control. The width of that will just be like 1. It looks like a line. Let me make it like a darker line instead. You can see it's a frame, but it's just a line type thing. Control X, I'll come in there and I'll paste it in. I just move it to the side. But now what I want is, I don't want this to be too long. I want this to fall to the height of this entire guy. This is 56. The height of this guy will also just be 56. And let's go back to check. Is it exactly the height? Okay, no wala. Since it's shorter, select the line and just reduce the line and just center everything together. Yeah, and then we have that entire selection. What else do we need? Okay, we have some text here saying showing 191 screens. All I just want to do now is I need text, Control C, Control V. I'll say showing, and what's the other one? 191 screens, which is under that. Control D again, 191 screens. This one is, okay, the top one is smaller, this one is bigger, no wala. Go back in, Shift A, cut down on the spacing. I'm going to have to go down a notch on this and make this like a regular text. This is too faint, therefore I'll go darker. Now, all I just need is for this guy to be able to go to the extreme. I'll just pick these two together, Shift A, and I'll say I want them to arrange sideways, but then now I want this to stretch to the edge, but then I want this to push this to the end. I want everything here to be auto spacing. And now we are pretty much done with that particular section. The only thing we just have to have now is just a box to just represent each of these images. Simple. That just means we create a frame and probably make it a dark frame just to represent image. Scroll the way down and let's say 375 by 812, which is like typical phone frame size. And remember the height of this thing, I can always just make it org. That any new thing we create, we just see it on the side. So now I've already created some frames. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shift A, let's allow them to do side by side. And T, it's going to keep pushing outside, but I want 5. So if I want 5, I'll make sure the width here is fixed. And I want the gap between them to be maybe like 24. But also, I want these guys to adjust accordingly. I'll select everybody. I'll constrain them. Then I'll say, I want this to just be a fill container type thing. I'll just do a new duplicate. Now I have a very even grid of 5 different images. Now at this point, I'll just say I want things to just start spilling downwards. That's why I'm using the wrap. So it's pretty much the same thing. They just added some new elements in there and they rearranged how it looks. That's just all. Now I'm doing the wrap thing. I'll just select this again, just Control D. Okay, I need that to stop. I don't want that to keep doing more of that. I think the sideways is fine. I think 24, and I want this to, let me see. There's something. Nope, I don't want that to creep adding to that. There's a way typically that I can automate things stopping from arranging to the side and then it starts spilling down at the other end. Okay, I think I'm supposed to take away the fill. It's supposed to be fixed size with the fill, and let's try. Yeah, exactly. This will just be allowed to hug as many screens that you want to add. You can add, and pretty much we have the entire page. Now we know this one is supposed to be a component. This is supposed to be a component. Even this is supposed to be a component that pops something up. But also this entire section down here is supposed to be a component because depending on the things that change here, this entire section down here changes. Therefore, if this is supposed to be a component, I have to put everything into one auto layout, this entire down section. That will be a Shift A. And now I have this. So if I really want to do the component thing, I'll first take this out. I'll probably give it like a white background. And then I'm going to have to then start creating the components by creating 3 copies of it. The first one is screens being active. The second one is UI elements being underlined. Therefore, screens, the underline will disappear, and then UI elements will have a new underline. What color did I even use for the underline here? 800. Yeah, okay. We'll do stroke. We'll do 800 stroke, only bottom. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. And then the text inside this is black. Therefore, we expect this guy as well to also be black 00. This one then becomes what color? Black 400. We change it to black 400. Now we already have the second state. The third state is then going to be flows being active. This is going to be standard black, and it's going to be black 400. And then we are going to add the underline to the flows. Stroke that, 800, bottom only 4. Now, in screens, this is what we have in screens. In UI elements, something changes. Let's go back and check what changes. In UI elements, when we go to UI elements, latest, we only have latest and elements. We don't have the third one. Let's go back. Even, I think the button changes. This text and screenshots, we no longer have it. I'll delete that. And then the text there then changes to UI elements. UI elements. Now it has changed. Let's go back and check. Okay, this is still showing the same number. Latest, is that what is there? Latest, yes. All right. Pretty much still the same thing. Just like the buttons there just change a little bit. Then we have flows where everything changes a lot. Everything else is squeezed into line by line, but then we have a sidebar. Now that I already know that, all I just have to just do is squeeze these guys. But then I have to then do an auto layer again. Sorry, I'm on the wrong page. I'm editing the wrong one. Let me space them out properly. Now, what we want to do on these flows is we want this to be on this side. But you can see the more I'm shrinking it down, the more it's just doing it to the left side. What I just want to do is select this entire thing. I'll select this one. I want this one to fill. And then I'll select the entire thing, and I want things to just be on the right side of the auto layout map. Now, when I shrink this, it shrinks to the right rather than shrinking to the left. Now that we have that, let's go back in, and then we can notice something here. I notice that everything here is then has its own scroll line. So it's not like a full grid. It's like a broken down grid of carousels here. To do that, we already have all the elements we need to have. I'll just select this entire set of guys here, Shift A. I'll do this one too, Shift A. So that we have multiple lines, but then there's still something I'm still going to do eventually to all of them, because each of them have like something that breaks down the topic and the subtopic or something like that. Here, we have this line here. And with that line, I think, yeah, I'm supposed to have a text that says onboarding 24 screens with button, save, and all of that. That's another element to bring into that fold. Knowing that, I could just grab this Ctrl C and I'll just come here and paste. Once I paste, it'll take you down, but I'll just go up. I want this to be somewhere just under this guy. I'm repurposing elements I've already created before. Now we have onboarding 24 screens. I'll just go back and I'll check. I have text here. Let me just move it down this way. Clip it. I will say onboarding. Now I'll just make this one at the top. I'll change this big one to onboarding. And then the one at the bottom just going to be 24 screens. Then I just need a button that says save copy with the Figma icon. I don't think we need the line in this one. We just have, I already have a save button we created. Why not just repurpose that and then copy? Let's go back and check. Is that what it is? Copy with the Figma icon, then the more icon as well. Let's go back and let's check. I think I have that. Hey, we have that button too. Ctrl C. Come back here, and I will just paste it inside that set, and then it's the last one. Now we already have that. All we have to do is duplicate that, and then have it for all the other guys as well. Each one, whatever their topic is, it's all dependent on them. Here, we'll just shrink this down a little bit more. But you can notice something. These guys are now beginning to flow outside. It's because I did them as auto layout lines. Now we can set them to scroll horizontally. I can just select this and just Control D as many as I want. And all I'll do to each one of them is select them one by one. I'll select all of them one by one. And I just want the width to fill. But then it's going to break things. Control Z. I'll go inside. I'll set all their, what's it called? To, oh yeah, yeah. Now everything I'll just set here will then be, this is where the error is, the main auto layout itself, which is still on wrap. You just want it to just be downwards. Let it just be downwards. So now if I go back and do that same thing, it's not going to scatter anymore. The wrap sometimes can be tricky. Here, fill the container, and then we're going to set this to scroll horizontally. You guys already learned all this stuff. We could just clip the content however we want it to be clipped. Then Control D, just move that down. And yeah, I think, let me move this down as well. The entire section here. But remember, we now need to have a sidebar that will be on the other side of this. Because according to the design here, there's something that allows you to then scroll between all of these different things. Flow tree, onboarding, there's a main text, but then there are subtexts with numbers on their side, which will be lines of text two each. It's tricky, but don't worry, we'll get it. First things first, we always create a frame. I'll come in here and I drop a frame. And I want these frames to be side by side. Therefore, I'm going to create a new auto layout from these two. Shift A, but something has happened to my this thing. Go back. So let's check. This guy, I want this guy to, and let me just give it a color. Let's just give it that color. I want this guy and this to be Shift A. Okay, good. Side by side. But then this time, I want this to not extend outside, obviously. I want this to be fill container. And I want this guy to fill the container as well. This is the frame that will be representing all of the sidebar elements and all that stuff. Let's just make the background white. Hey, Jesus. It's almost white so that we can see it for a while. Now that we have that, we already have a space for sidebar. We have this. We can always preview this if you guys want to see it. All of these guys will work perfectly. I can see they all work perfectly. But then the thing is now, we now need to start arranging those texts. Flow tree, onboarding, DDD. Let's start from there. Come in here, drop a text, just say flow tree. But if you notice, this sidebar doesn't have an auto layout. I'll give it an auto layout, just so we can start building structure from here. Shift A. And my problem is it's still cutting it down. So let's just allow it to fill the container again. And let's say top left position. These numbers, I'll just cut that number down. Now allow this to just flow freely down. So now flow tree is probably small. So let's just do that. And let's now start creating all the other numbers in there. Apart from flow tree, we now have onboarding 24 pages. Let's say onboard 24. Let's go back. Onboarding 24. The 24 is supposed to be faint. Therefore, I'll select both of them, Shift A, and I'll arrange them side by side. I'll do an auto spacing because I want it to space in between. Now that I've done that, I've already done everything I need to do. I'll just copy this multiple times. You can take your time to change all your text and all that stuff. You can manipulate the spacing, maybe just to have more spacing. Also, obviously, I think the flow tree should even be its own. Like everybody have their own spacing separately from flow tree. Anyway. All right. If you want to do this stuff that they did here, you are going to have to manipulate your auto layout a lot. Let's just say starting a new activity. Let me just write it. Starting a new activity. Second one is now view all activities. View all activities. Then the next one is FAQ. FAQ. Ready. Then the next one is discarding a activity. This one is also be discarding a activity. Yes, that. It's kind of like a tricky one, But then there are ways we are going to manipulate it. I know these guys are under this starting a new activity. 1, 2, 3 are under starting new activity. Therefore, these 3 will be in their own auto layout. So watch. 1, 2, 3 will be in their own auto layout. But then that stroke thing that they did, I'll just do a stroke from here. Now only stroke one side. Then I will pad it from the inside to move them in. Sorry, I'll pad it only from the left side. Now you can see that these guys have now been padded inwards. Let's go back. Now I now need this line to connect, to link and touch that other guy. What do I need to do that? I already have all the premise of what I need. I'm just going to have to create a frame in here. I'll make it like a dark this thing. The height is going to be like 1. I'll make sure it's at the center of everything. Then I'll move it to the side here. Obviously, the width, I'll shorten it to maybe about 40. Probably make it darker just so that we can see it. Now, what I want to happen is I want this to be touching this to give us that illusion. But this shouldn't be too far from this either. Select both, Shift A. The gap should probably just be about like 16 or something. And let's just allow this to hug. Maybe that 16 is too small or too big, sorry. This. Now, what I'll just do here is I'll then come back to remove that padding that I did. And then I'm going to look at this guy and then pad this guy instead. If you really want to build structure of your design, this is what you would actually have to do. You have no choice. You can see that view activities now. That line that I did is touching it. The 4 is still arranged with everything. Now, we just want to do the FAQ one. We want to have a line, but then this as well. Coming back here, and I already have a line, so I don't even have to stress myself. I just paste that line in there. Everything center-wise. Move it back. Select both. Shift A. 8 gap between them. Maybe allow this to hug as well. Now, if I want to have that line that they have, all I'll just do is give this guy some kind of top-bottom padding. Then I'll stroke it as well from the other side. And I just want to have only left stroke. Now I've already built that structure. You just take thinking about it properly. Any kind of structure that you see in any design, you can build that same structure. It's not really that hard. We'll come back. This card activity is just going to be very similar to view all activities. All I'll just do is just copy the same thing, paste, send it here, Shift A, space of 8, and centered. And pretty much this is it. We already built the entire structure of what we want to do. You get it? And then we'll just go back again. To do home, I'll just come here and then call this one home. And then inviting. So the same thing we've just done is just what we are going to do over and over and over and over again. I'll just take this entire thing. This will be its own auto layout. Home will have its own guys under it in the same auto layout. So let's just take this and just duplicate it. Let me duplicate home just to quickly demo something. Shift A. Now with home, what they have is a lot of pages on the same hierarchy. So inviting, how it works, this one, that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's simple. We've already created something. We don't have to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can easily just create that. And then anyone that is like on a different inner hierarchy, this will represent that. Or you just have to change the text. By creating the first one, you've already created a template for how everything else will go. Let's say the sidebar is now here. And now we've done everything we need to do. How do we now turn this into a properly nested auto layout? Components set. I'll just grab these guys and move them out. Remember, all of these guys, you will have to create these components on their own. Remember, you've already learned how to create the components. You are going to have a before state of this. You are going to have an after state of this. Let's go back. The latest, what does the after? It has this pop-up. Text, icon, then text. Very simple stuff. So you just have to have both versions of it. Let me just quickly just do this one. Just to remember. Stretch it out. Do a left align. And I think I'm supposed to have June 2023, all of that stuff. June 2023. Then I'm supposed to have a text that says latest. Control D, latest. And then it's supposed to have its own auto layout on top of it. It's supposed to be a small text. And that auto layout should have like some kind of padding. A little bit of padding from the side as well. Should be curved slightly. Probably have some kind of color, but I think the background of that was like a dark color. So let's even first do that. Let's go into this. Let's curve the corners less. Yep. And then padding from the side is reduced as well. And then our text would then have to be white. Okay. This latest, so the text is supposed to be white, not the background. Let's go with that. Select the background, change it, and bring it down a little bit. Yeah. I think pretty much standard stuff that you guys have already learned. For the sake of the newcomers in class, just to show them, this is pretty much everything that is on all the previous recording that you probably haven't seen yet. Doing all of these things easily like this is actually what is in everything that you've not seen yet. So Shift A, let's do a fill and allow this to be auto. I want this to arrange from top to bottom and just do duplicates. Then we have August 2022. 2022, they'll just say AUG. Obviously, this is not latest. That doesn't apply. But instead of even taking it, I'll just do 0.1 because we want to have equal spacing. This one also, I'll probably just do a 0.1. Sorry. Yeah. And then the last one is request update. This one is just a request update thing. I'll just carry this and just use it to represent that. Yeah. But remember, this has like a line. If I want to have that same line, all I'll just do is select this guy, I set it to fill, do a little bit of top bottom padding, and then stroke it at one side, but just stroke the top side. Let's go. Yeah. And now we have a line already. Pretty much we have both, but then we need this to kind of like belong to this guy. So if I need that to happen that way, I'll just take this frame and then I'll just do create component set. And I'll just say latest toggle. And that's pretty much that. Remember, you can always replace the icons later. All your mini components, they will still have to function within the main component. Now, I now want to make all of this a component set. I'll just highlight them, come up here, and then we say create component sets. Now we have them as component sets. So we'll just say switchable section of the page. The first one is just going to be called screens. Second one is UI elements. And then the last one is flows. Simple. Now, how do we now get them to switch from one state to the other? Very simple. I'll select UI elements, I'll go to prototype, and I'll just link it to say UI elements. Flows is going to link to the last one to switch to that state. Here too, screens should be able to switch back to that one. You go to each individual element to then link them to the right places that if somebody clicks on them, you should actually switch to that state. And voila, we are done. All the linking is done. Now, if I now take this first one, Control C, I'll now come back here and I'll just replace it with this. I'll just do Control Shift R to replace. Now my component set is there. If I play this in its own page, so let's preview. All right, we are still in a mobile view. Let me just switch back to, I think we use the MacBook Pro 16. Let's just switch to MacBook Pro 16. Yeah. When we come back in here, okay, yeah, now it's done. You can see everything works, everything looks good. I don't need smart animate. I need it to just happen instantly. So I just go back to the components, to the settings of all the prototypes. Instead of smart animate, I just say instant. Everyone, instead of smart, I need it to happen instant because it's a website. You don't need all that animation stuff. Most times in web, you don't do a lot of smart animate page transition. So I just change everybody from smart animate to instant. If we go back and we test it out, see, it changes immediately. You can see the sidebar is all there. This one also scrolls the way it's supposed to. Every single one of them scrolls. All you just have to do yourself is put the images, put the icons, and everything is all good. Any questions? So this is pretty much what we call nested auto layout. You don't always have to do this. This is not even a necessary thing. But this is an important thing for you guys to know. This is advanced prototyping. Multiple different types. And this one still works as well. You understand? But see, something is going on here. Consider this guy is being hidden under this guy. Let me come back. This is my sidebar. It's not even supposed to be this color. It's supposed to be white. But let me just first make it white first. Then there's something about auto layout. In the auto layout setting, the way it's stacked, by default, your auto layout will stack last on top. Whatever is last will be on top. But in this particular case, we want this guy at the top to overlay what is under it. We are going to go to the auto layout settings of that section. We'll select this entire place. We'll now go to the auto layout settings here. There's an auto layout settings icon beside the gap. There's a setting. This last on top, you now have to flip it to be first on top. And when you go back, then it can easily close and open the way it needs to. But all that fading rubbish, I don't even want fading. Let me just go and remove that smart animate from it. Let's make it instant. And then let's go back to check. This works the way it's supposed to work. This does its thing, and everybody works perfectly. And this is having auto layout inside of auto layout working, and also having almost an entire page be, sorry, I don't mean auto, I mean components. Almost an entire page be a component. But just know, the only pages that you can do those kind of components for are pages that only one section of the page changes, not everything. But if everything here is changing at the top, then I don't have to do this entire nested components thing. All I just have to do is create a new page and design that page. But because only a section of the page is changing here, that is why we actually do these nested components for them. And that's pretty much what that is. That's everything. Any questions? From now on, everything we are going to be doing is going to be based on your project. Class itself has officially ended. This is everything you really need to know. Now, what I expect to be seeing now is your assignments. I expect to be seeing you finish your assignments. I expect to start seeing you guys now interact more and ask questions based on your main portfolio project. Because you have to have a portfolio by the end of this. If you don't, there's nothing I can do to you. But I expect you at least in the next 3 weeks. I expect every single class we have is now going to be about the portfolio. What is the structure of arrangements? Then you can go back, use GPT to structure your own documents of your case study for your project. But as much as you are doing that, you also have to now start designing your pages. I've shown you how to use GPT to generate ideas. I've shown you how to use GPT to simplify complex topics that might be too complex for you that you don't even understand. I've shown you how to use GPT to break down documents or come up with wireframes. But I've told you before that GPT will not give you the complete wireframe. Don't expect GPT to be able to do everything for you. You still have to do a lot of the work. But at least the starting point, GPT can help you jumpstart a lot of all the scenario that would have been in the past. You get. The point is, I need you guys to start taking this your portfolio project thing seriously. You have to start taking it seriously. It's a must. At least, because after the class, I'm not going to be available to you guys anymore. The recordings will be available and everything, but I'm not going to be available to be having maybe answering WhatsApp messages and all of that. The class was the time for you guys to ask as many questions as you need to. If you're not asking questions now, start thinking of the questions you want to ask in the next classes or in the WhatsApp group. But after the class, I'm not sure I'm going to be that available. I think that's everything for today.